It's Guinness time. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I've been busy today. How have you been? And who am I? You might ask. Indeed, you might ask that. I'm Bill Sylvie. I'm the Dungeon Delver, and yeah, some stuff happened today. So, if you've been living under a rock, as it were, from the tabletop role-playing game perspective, by the way, what you drinking tonight, folks? A little milk mustache there. You might not know the craziness that's going on today. So everything's gone haywire, of course, with regard to OGL 1.1, the OGL 1.0. So we've just been kind of sitting twiddling our thumbs going, what's going on? What's happening, Wizards of the Coast? And they issued a tweet a few days ago and said, all will be made clear. And then nothing. And then today, at some point during the day, they said, we're going on Twitch. We're going on our live Twitch on D&D Beyond at 3 p.m. We will tell you what is going on. We will tell you, consumer, what is happening. 3 p.m. came. They canceled. It was rescheduled for 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock came. It was canceled. They have now only got their regularly scheduled Tuesday evening stream for next week, the 17th. What will happen then, we'll see. Now, I want to address something. I made a short video today when a leak happened. And what this leak is, I'm going to tell you guys. Hopefully I can pull it up here. Do I still have it up here? I don't know if I have it up here. Let me see. Do I have it? Yeah, okay. So if you missed my video earlier today, I'll just I'll put this up here and we can all share in it together. Oh, good Lord, that's the wrong thing. There we go. We can all share in this together. Because this came from, allegedly, this came from inside Wizards of the Coast. Now, I'm not going to rehash all my thoughts on this, but I am going to touch on something just very, very briefly with regard to it. I'm going to read this to you guys. You can discuss it amongst yourselves. Okay, what this says is, hi, I'm an employee at WotC currently working on D&D Beyond, DDB, and with D&D business leaders on the health of the product line. If you want, I can provide proof of this. This is a screen grab. This is not from an email that I received. I'm sending this message because I fear for the health of a community I love, and I know the leaders at WotC are looking at. And then there's some bullet points here. They're briefly delaying the rollout of the OGL changes due to the backlash. Their decision-making is based entirely on the provable impact to their bottom line. Specifically, they are looking at DDB subscriptions and cancellations as it is the quickest financial data they currently have. They are still hoping the community forgets, moves on, and that they can still push through this. I have decided to reach out because at my time in WotC, I have never once heard management refer to customers in a positive manner. Their communication gives me the impression they see customers as obstacles between them and their money. The DDB team was first told to prepare to support the new OGL changes and online portal when they got back from the holidays, and leadership doesn't take any responsibility for the pain and stress they cause others. Leadership's first communication to the rank and file on the OGL was 30 minutes on 1/11/23. This was the first time they even tried to communicate their intentions about the OGL to employees, and even in this meeting, they blamed the community for overreacting. I will repeat, the main thing that leadership is looking at is DDB subscriptions cancellations. Hope your day goes well. P.S. I will be copying and pasting this message to other community leaders. Now, I made a video about that, and I talked about the real impact that this is going to have. I talked about the real impact that this is going to have and people that were going to hurt. And in doing that, one of the things that I mentioned was something that Zach Glazar posted on Facebook today about the real serious impact that this is going to have on Frog God Games. And I misquoted some numbers. I said that it was 60 people, not counting contractors. Zach corrected me, so I am issuing a correction statement about that. It is 70 people, including freelancers and Bill Webb. So that's 70 people that will go under if this goes down. So I apologize for misstating and misquoting Zach's statement. And that's what I have to say about that. But I hope otherwise you guys are doing okay. But what a crap show. What an absolute crap show. Literally, guys, it took Lorraine Williams from 1985 to 1997 to drive TSR nose first into the tarmac, to quote from Twitter. 12 years it took them. The current Williams in charge at Wizards of the Coast did it in less than 9 months. She started in February. Okay, well, no, less than a year. She started in February of 2022 and has wrecked the D&D brand. Now, let me tell you guys something. I know a lot of people dismiss this as being a them problem, and I touched on this last night. I have published things through two companies that use, technically, I guess now it's two companies that use the OGL. Necromancer, which is now an impressum of Frog God Games proper, and Hellebard Games, my buddy Don's company. I know you guys have bought some of my stuff. I know some of you guys have kind of sat on the fence on getting some of my stuff. But I know those guys, okay? If they are pressed by Wizards of the Coast, all of my stuff disappears forever. Oh, you'll still be able to find it on the used market, But one of the autograph copies of almost said Elemental Moon. There are no autograph copies of Elemental Moon. Good luck finding a physical copy of Elemental Moon. I will drop some links, Tommy. I will drop some links. Yeah, don't hire someone named Williams if you have an RPG company. It's just bad juju, I guess. So, you can go to Hellebarde Games. It's just hellebardgames.com. Now, I don't know if they have any physical copies of my stuff left. You can go right there. There's the link. Frog God Games, 70 people are no longer producing RPG stuff. Hellebarde, myself, because guess what? I wanted to work with Don again. Gone. Don, Lori, the other people who write adventures for him, gone. Just it all goes away. So this idea that some few have promulgated that it's not a problem, that because we're not $750,000 a year makers and everything, that we have nothing to worry about. Get out with that. All right. We're not all Glengarry Glen Ross over here. All right. We're not all Patrick Bateman. We're not all, we're going to scrape together a couple million a month on this. All right. We're not all Matt Mercer. We're not Paizo. We're not even Kobold Press. If our suffering under this is nothing to you, and you think it's just stupid that anyone's upset about this, then leave. Then leave. You're a tourist and you don't care about this end of the hobby. But let me tell you something. I'm a damn good writer. You want the proof? You want to ask where all of my stuff is? The guy who wrote all my favorite role-playing games, that little old bearded man with the thin cigars, lived up in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. He thought I was good enough to work for him. And the idea that someone whose sole experience with role-playing games is seeing them on Wizards of the Coast's product webpage is now in charge of my bread and butter, the bread and butter of hundreds, if not thousands of people out there who don't have the money to challenge them in court. If that's nothing to you, if you just think that this is some nothing burger, and that this is only targeted at Wizards getting their due from Matt Mercer and Paizo, then leave. Then leave. Because we are real people, and it really impacts us. Because it's not nothing. It is always lawyers. I am proficient in hacking. Thank you very much. I got to get rolling. I really got to get rolling. Perforce to consider a libation For example, a stout. I sent Gary a case of wine. I've often wondered, was it consumed in due order? Because we have a wonderful winery down here in Florida. It's San Sebastian Winery. They're actually over on the northeast coast of the state. This is not an endorsement. They don't pay me any money, but their wines are good. And I sent a box of wine. I picked out a few porter, some of their vintners red and white, and Cab Savs and stuff like that. I made a nice gift box and sent that to Gary one year, and I hope he enjoyed it. Send lawyers, guns, and money. Absolutely. We need a Filk version of Lawyers, Guns, and Money that covers what's going on. Send Lawyers, Dice, and Rule Books. Samalama, greetings. T-shirted historian. How the hell are you? It's good to see you. I am enjoying a tasty Guinness tonight, and when I have a little bit more of this tasty Guinness, I'm gonna drop a bathysphere down in to explore the depths of the Guinness. Actually, I think it may be good to go now. What was the quote from was it Adams who said first thing we do is we kill all the lawyers? So here we go. Yeah, that's what this is, Samalama. It's Bailey's. I'm a ease this down in here. Oh, that is darn near perfect. That is good. That is good. Let me tell you something. I'm not a whiskey guy. I just generally speaking, and I know Bailey's is Irish whiskey and like cocoa powder and powdered cream. And I like Jack Daniels and Coke. But generally speaking, like I can't, like a brown drink, I can't. I know there are good ones. I know there are really good ones, and I'm a beer and cider kind of guy. All right, I just prefer beers and ciders. So that's how I am. Greetings, Kennick, aka Safi. Dungeon Minister, did you sneak in here and I can't see you? There he is. I have my youngest DMing me through a hobgoblin's lair here. I'll have to watch later. Okay. Doctor Who Pirate Planet from 1978 was a prototype for 40K. Emery, I'm going to take your word on that. Oh, that's good. That is the last Guinness, and that's the last shot of Bailey's. Is literally filled the shot glass up to the rim. I was afraid I was going to spill it bringing it in here. No single malt Scotch, Kennick. Sorry. Sorry. It's not my jam. It's not my jam. So you know what's good? Half Guinness and half sparkling wine. It's called a Black Velvet. It's very tasty. Do recommend. Speaking of ciders, your favorite is Dickens on a cold winter night. Your wife will appreciate. Oh my gosh. Can't stand Guinness. Get out. Bring back Zima. I'll tell you a funny thing about Zima. Zima came out. The first time I tried Zima, it was 1989. I was 19. honest to God, I thought it was like a Sprite-like drink. I walked into a 7-Eleven on the corner of Powers Drive and West Colonial. We were hanging out with some friends, gaming. We were gaming. We were going to do some Champions or something that night. Or maybe we were going to drive to Contemporary and play video games, arcade games. I don't remember. But you almost got me, T-shirted. You almost got me. But anyway, no. I walked in the 7-Eleven and I was like, oh, well, this is a Zima thing. I'll try this out. And I pick one up. Again, I'm all of 19 years old. I walk up to the counter and I got my Funyuns or whatever. And we're driving along. And I said, oh, hey, guys, I'm going to try this Zima out. And I pop it open. And my buddy Jason, who was driving, goes, dude, open container laws. I was like, what? It's like that's like beer. Like, no, it's no. This is like Sprite, okay? This is like a lemon, and I drink it, and it kind of have a funny aftertaste, and I'm like, this is an alcoholic. And he reaches over and angrily flips on his dome light, and like turns the bottle around in my hand. Oh, nope, that's alcoholic. But it was good, and I enjoyed it. I just pounded it. Troller Games are announcing they're giving away the PDF of their player's handbook for free. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'll have to check that out. I play tested that game back in the day. I wasn't a dev or anything like that. I play tested it some, and I found it good. And that was TJ, yeah, that's like duels and stuff like that. You mean? But of course, when I worked for Gary, we were writing for Castles and Crusades. Now, here's the secret, okay? Well, I'll tell you guys 2 funny stories about working for Gary and writing Castles and Crusades stuff. Well, how funny they are is entirely up to you guys to judge, but I'll tell them anyway. I've told them on stream before, but you're going to hear it again. But I'll only tell this story for a super chat. No, I'm kidding. I mean, a super chat would be awesome, but I'm going to tell you guys a story anyway. The stuff that I worked on for Troll Lord, when I got to designing Gary's notes or Gary's basic guidance to us, and the Dungeon Master's Guide, that was my guiding design document. This was what I used as my design Bible. So I was designing from that. Now, the other funny thing about that is this. When I was over the moon that I was going to get to write stuff for Gary Gygax, right? Because one of the first things I did when I was a kid and I learned how to play D&D was I hand wrote, not typewriter, I hand wrote a module and sent it to TSR. It is likely a layer of mold in a landfill somewhere in, what is it, Lake County, the Lake Geneva is located in it? I don't know. But it's probably was like Shredder. And I don't fault him for that. I was 11 and it was terrible. I remember the details vaguely. Thinly veiled ripoff of the Mines of Moria, but very mazy. And my map, my map covered like 3 sheets of graph paper. But from that day forward, I just hoped that they would write back or something, and I didn't even get a rejection letter from them. But anyway, I always thought, like, how cool would it be? How cool would it be? Hey, Samalama, thank you. Thank you, Samalama, RIP module. Although I have it from Paul Stormberg that it might still exist. We'll have to get Paul on the show again one day. Walworth County. Okay, John, Walworth County. That it may still exist somewhere, but I tend to think not. But from that day forward, I really, really wanted to, like, write a D&D module with Gary, and it happened. It happened in 2006, 2005, when I was accepted to work with initially 30 folks, but it gradually pared down. It may have been a part of the paper column, but it pared down to myself and 10 others working on stuff for Gary. We took on the projects of people who had to leave. But when I first started designing, I had what was called the Citadel, which is basically just like a police station, for lack of a better term, but it's a barracks, that sort of thing. Now, I want to kind of bury the lead a little bit and say, I was allowed to put fantastical elements in it. There was part of it that was haunted. The water cistern deep below the city, I put an aboleth in that was slowly poisoning the residents and troops in the Citadel. I did put some fun stuff in there. I thought we were just to take our good ideas and just run at it. That we were going to just run at it, okay? So for 2 weeks, I designed something that would have made the producers of Dragon's Lair blush in terms of sheer gonzo, okay? I had this tottering pile of stones rife with funhouse dungeon elements. I just created the tour de force. And I was sitting there working away on this stuff. And I remember it was one evening sitting back in my office, which at the time was on the other side of the house from where I am now. And I get an email. And it's an all hands email from Gary. Now, I had been running radio silent because I was putting my brain to work, you see. I was coming up with a real crusher of an adventure, and there would be, it was gonna out Tomb of Horrors, the Tomb of Horrors. It was gonna out White Plume Mountain, White Plume Mountain. It was gonna be so awesome. So I'm working away on this thing. And an email comes in, and it's from Gary. Now, again, I want to say I hadn't sent Gary anything, okay? No updates. He didn't want like little minor updates. If you had questions and you wanted to send him a question with what you had a question about in the email, that was fine. But he didn't want incomplete manuscripts to read through and then say, okay, and then send it back and you continue working, which I can completely understand. It'll slow up the process. So he sends out this email and says, I've heard from some people about their progress on the modules, and I just want to say, I don't want to be very firm about this. Guys, stick to the design emails I sent you. Stick to those plans and the notes. Don't go off to even. It's like it was directed straight at me. Like Gary was standing over my shoulder, looking disapprovingly at what I was working on. And I just sat there. I was crushed. I was defeated. So that 2 weeks of work thrown right out. And I wish I had saved the document, but I couldn't face the embarrassment. And I started anew, and I started writing a much more normal Citadel. But again, I still had some cool stuff. Some of the features, there was the Aboleth. There was a haunted... there was a little bit of a haunted dungeon. The chaplain in the place was possessed because one of the knights errant had brought back an idol that had possessed him, and there was a chance that player characters moving through that area might hear him literally having a golem, not golem like flesh golem, iron golem, but Gollum from Lord of the Rings, like struggle with himself. They like I said, Aboleth in the Cistern. Of course, magic weapons were rife. I had some kind of sweet light stuff in there, like the cook who I based. I was reading Gormenghast, the Gormenghast cycle, or I guess the Titus Groan trilogy from Mervyn Peake. I was reading that at the time, and I was fascinated by the head chef there in Gormenghast. So I made the cook, the head cook was very much like him, and the head of the scullery was his exact physical opposite. I described her as being rail thin, but they would have nightly rendezvous that I mentioned in there. I had the Citadel built on an extremely ancient piece of land that had once been an area visited by a gnomish Masonic order, and they still had lodge meetings. They would use spells to sneak in, and in often one corner of the courtyard of the place, deep underground, they would have their Masonic meetings, and they could have gotten caught by the party. There was a group of bandits led by a magic user who were planning an assault and raid on the place. I had that going on. I had a nearby park that had both a white in a heretofore undiscovered cairn that most people just thought was a grassy hill, who was planning to burst out one night and do something horrible. And there was a mysterious lady who was always in the park, but no one ever saw her at night, so they thought she went home. But she was actually a dryad who lived in a tree that, again, when the city was built up around it and the park was preserved, she just stayed in her tree, but she was terrified that one day they'd cut the tree down. The gnomes ring, so moat it be. That's very funny, TJ. I like it. Moat, a ditch around a fortress or castle, and moat in this, anyway. So that is those are just a few of the things that I put in there. Now, when I did like a river town. Was it Newtown or was it Rivertown? I don't remember. But it was basically a slum city just outside the walls of Yiggsburg. There I really got to stretch things. There's a 2-level dungeon effectively under the town, were-rat gangsters, because if you've got a city or a town, you've got to have were-rat gangsters in it. It's like the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Your fantasy towns have were-rat gangsters in them. I'm sorry, it's just how that works. And all sorts of fun stuff in there, and character hooks and plot arcs and everything like that. But yeah, that initial Citadel, that Don Bluth's Dragon's Lair-esque Citadel, sadly no part remains of, but that there is my story of the development of those. And one day I will sanitize them of anything that could be directly connected back to Gary, and I will publish them. One day. It's not going to be till after this settles out. just like I did with the Lost Crypt. You know, I will carefully disconnect from Yigsburg, and I will offer them up. I will probably publish them myself. I won't go to Frog God or Necromancer or anybody else unless they want them. But that's just a little story. This is just a little tabletop, a little TSR D&D history about yours truly. Top Gun Public Relations Bill. That sounds like something that goes through Congress. The Top Gun Public Relations Bill did not pass the Appropriation Committee today. Aaron Smith, good to see you. How are you? Gosh, what else? I'll tell you another funny one. I'll tell you another fun development story. So a buddy of mine, Lance Havermehl, who I've had on the show, I need to dig up my Lance interview and upload it to YouTube so you guys can watch that. Good to see you too. Thank you for the compliment on the hair, Aaron. By the way, if you're just stopping by, and there's 25 of you watching, and I really appreciate that. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe and click the bell icon for notifications. Give the video a thumbs up if you like it, and a comment below about what you like about it, and I'll do more of that. If you don't like the video, please subscribe anyway, but feel free to give it a thumbs down. I don't turn up votes and down votes off. I can see if you dislike a video, but leave a comment and say, this is what I don't like about it, and I will endeavor to repair it. I will endeavor to do better. But anyway, back in the early 2000s, a buddy of mine, Lance Havermehl, who writes some really good stuff. You should check Lance out. And I meant to link to Hellebarde, the Temple of the Sun. Let me do that real quick. Lance was like, one day I'm going to make you work on a D&D module with me. And I was like, dude, I don't do third edition. That's not my jam. And finally, with constant insistence and the last offer of, I will edit it to make it third edition rules wise. You just write the adventure, gosh darn it. He wore me down, and I said, fine, but this is going to be deadly. And he's like, good, make it deadly. I said, I'm not putting stuff. I will describe a trap as you die and you don't get a saving throw. This is going to be an ultra high level. Think Tomb of Horrors, but in a tower. And he said, I love it already. So I wrote that, and I said, listen, and this is one of the stupidest things I've ever done, but I'll tell you guys the punchline. Is that related to Billy Thorpe, Children of the Sun? No, it's not. I said, I got to do it under a pen name. I don't want to lose my street cred writing no third edition D20 nonsense. And he said, I completely understand. So if you go out and you look for Elemental Moon by Lance Havermehl and Andy Luke Crossness, you will find it. I am supposed to be working on a sequel. It is very slow going, and now I don't know what's happening. I don't know what Frog God's going to do, but I was working on a sequel to Elemental Moon. Slowly but surely. It actually takes place on the moon, and it's even more deadly, and I like it even more. Winter Wolf, you bought Elemental Moon? Did you buy the PDF or did you buy a physical copy? Now I want to know if you have like an actual, if somebody out there has a physical copy. Good Lord, we have 27 people watching the live stream right now. That's kind of fun. So Lance got me to write that. There was a funny moment in there. Like, I don't know. I still to this day don't know how third edition mechanically works. And I used I used like a program. It may have been Wizards of the Coast program, but I was like, I need a lich. This module needs a lich in it, right? Any high level deadly enough module has to have a lich in it. I was going to say if you had a physical copy and we ever met up, Winter Wolf, I'd autograph it for you, but I haven't seen it, Volcano. I haven't seen it in the stuff. So it may be in here. I've got 2 stacks under the table and a bunch in a tote over yonder. I may keep it because I never got a physical copy either. But hey, listen, let me tell you something, bud. Don't fear. Right up here, dude. Your Med Alpha coffee table is it's coming back to you. We'll figure out how to get it to you. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes. So I was statting up a lich in 3rd edition, and I was like, okay, a lich. Let's think about this in AD&D terms. I gave it 20 levels of cleric and 20 levels of magic user because a lich is a magic user cleric, undead. I would sign it both ways. I would like Bill Sylvie, aka Andy Luke Crossness. All right, sounds good, Volcano. That is. Well, they're re-releasing, so I guess I guess they'll fix that in post. Anyway, hail Michael Connor, Unbreaded. Finnegan Delver. I like it. I like that. So I said the lich back to him, and Lance is like, Bill. I know this is supposed to be deadly, but this thing has like 40 levels of spellcaster. And I was like, I don't understand how templates work. And he's like, no, you don't. So we manually rebuilt Zignuel, the lich, and made him far less. But yeah, he was he was seriously bad news. Thank you, Michael. Thank you. I thought the video was pretty well done. It took me a couple of cracks at it. First, like I tried to do it as a YouTube short because that's like where their focus is. And like I would just get rolling on reading the letter, the leak from the WotC employee, and it would like kick over to a minute. It's like, dang it. So I just decided to sit back and make a vidya. Yes, that is it. That is exactly it. So here's one. If you guys want a physical copy of Elemental Moon, there is one on eBay that Sapphire Canic found. You can run and grab that. 40 level. No, it was a high level module. It was not for epic level. That, like I said, I fixed it. They made me fix it. But I wish I had a physical copy of Elemental Moon, but I don't. So. But yeah, that was our baby. And I had a moment, and if you ever write anything, particularly something, I put a lot of love in Elemental Moon. I didn't just dash off something. And Lance goaded me. Lance was a hell of a writing partner. Let me tell you something. I want him to, he's got like 8 things. He's got kids to raise. He is a teacher. He is working on like another doctorate degree or something. So he doesn't have the time. Lance was incredible at keeping me on track. And he has it. Lance has old school chops like you wouldn't believe. Let me tell you what, you ever go to a con or you're casting around looking for people at a VTT and a writer from the Midwest named Lance Hoffermail says he wants to, you grab that guy up and you say, yeah, you're in my game. You're in my game. Because he gets it. Right. And he rode herd on that thing at 31. This is a new high. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, please. If you're new, if you've never watched one of my streams, please just say hi in the comments. Just pop in the comments and say hi. But Lance took the raw material of my manuscript and made me work it into something really good. And when I finally sent that last draft off, I was a little choked up, and I wrote him a letter about it. And I said, my daughter had just been born, so I didn't really have a frame of reference for this. And so I said, this must be what it's like to send your kid off to college. Because I sent it off to him and I thought of 1,000 more things that I should have done. And perfect is the enemy of good enough. Just like one more, just like 5 more minutes. I should have gone over it. And I was absolutely certain. I don't think I slept that night because I was sure that Lance was going to send it back and be like, dude, we got problems with this. Because that was, the Gary thing was yet to come. That was the first time somebody had really tested me. When I made the DD series and the WGH series of modules, they were good enough for me, so I published them. And those are still out there. You can find those. And that was my baby. That was my baby. That was the first time I let something go. And it worked. I mean, I made $50 and Lance paid me out of his pocket. Like, I didn't get a check from Frog God. And Bill Webb laughed at me when I mentioned that. I was like, yeah, I never got paid for this. Lance paid me. He's like, thanks, Bill. But no, I like Bill Webb and I like the guys at Frog God. I'm not complaining. So yeah, it was an experience, but it told me that it started to fuel the fire. It started building up that raging bonfire of egotistical confidence that I am a good writer. And when I started working on Gary's stuff, and Gary said, you're good enough. And then I met an awesome guy, Don McVitie, and he hired me to write stuff for information systems publications based on the fact that Gary thought I was a good writer and my background was in IT. Don said, his background is in IT and he knows how to write. And when we had lunch together one day, when he came down to Florida from Wisconsin at a conference, he said, you're that rare breed of cat who knows IT and knows how to write. He said, I got a stable of people who know how to write, but they don't know squat about IT, and people who know about IT, but they don't know how to write. You are that rare, like your Venn diagram is just one circle, writer, IT guy. The circles have kind of drifted apart a little bit and the IT guy has shrunk down. But so Don really kind of pulled me in, and I had a lot of stuff happen. I had a lot of good people want things written. And I remember reading, I have looked high and low trying to find the article, but this is something I took to heart, and it was by a freelance writer, and he did just some absolute gonzo pieces. But he said, when you make $1,000 writing, then you're an author. Whether it's $110, $1,001, two $500s, whatever combination, when you make $1,000 writing, then you're officially a professional writer. And there was a guy, for a while, he owned the Space Gamer and the Fantasy Gamer, which we've talked about on the show with Murphy's Rules and Steve Jackson Games. And so he reached out to me. And he said, hey, I want you to write articles on my website for me. And I can't pay a lot. And he was like, it pays like $25 a month. And so every month I'd write him an article about role-playing games for his pay-to-view website. And I'd go out to the mailbox and there was a check for $25. And $25, even back in 2002, wasn't really that much money. However, or was it $25 twice a month for 50? I think that was the case. Still $50. It bought diapers. It bought baby formula. It put gas in the car. It helped fill out the last, if you owe the power company $200 and you got 150, they're not going to say, okay, well, I guess we'll let you have $150 worth of electricity. They'll just turn it off. And for the year that I did that, so a whopping total of $300 I made, it was a lifesaver. It was an absolute lifesaver. And it was good times. It was good times. At that time, I was hanging on by my fingernails. New baby in the house. I was trying to get back professional. Colleen's job didn't pay nearly a third of what it does now. Grumpy Old Slan, good to meet you. Good to see you, rather. Watsy is now more like Yahtzee. But yeah, that is that's just kind of the early writing history of Ye Old Dungeon Delver. So you guys saw the link there on Temple of the Sun. I shared that with you guys. Let's see. Let me see. Let me bring this up here. And it's only $5, by the way. Go buy a copy of Elemental Moon. It's $5 freaking dollars. There's no excuse not to have Elemental Moon. And if you get it printed out, I don't care if you print it out on your bubble jet printer, burn up all your cartridges and staple it in the corner. If you bring it to me, I'll sign it for you. So there's Elemental Moon, and here is The Lost Crypt. Yep. Gary put out an all hands call on EN World and Dragon's Foot, and I answered. I wrote probably 120,000 words, give or take. 30,000, 4 books. Yeah. Well, that doesn't count Lost Crypt or all of Teeth of the Barkish Noor. So more than that, I would guess. Can you channel modules by others? Okay. But that's the that was a lot of work, and Gail took it all away. Gail went crazy when Gary passed away and pulled all of her licenses from Trollord Games, and nothing I did would be published by her. Now I chiseled out the Lost Crypt out of Teeth of the Bark-Ishnor. I may still publish Teeth of the Bark-Ishnor one day. I may still. A live stream playthrough of Elemental Moon on this channel? Maybe. How did Tomb of Horrors But in a Tower ever get published? Lance Havermail chased me around demanding that I write an old school D&D, just a brutal slog of a module full of traps and puzzles and stuff that would just kill you, until I sat down and I wrote it, and I said, but it's going to be in a tower. And if you're thinking, well, couldn't they just climb up to the tower? No. The tower was trapped. If you cast Disintegrator, Pass Wall, or anything like that, it would backfire and kill you. The only way in, because the tower was partially submerged, was diving down, fighting a Froghemoth, fighting Quippers, which are cold water piranha, and then you're in the tower and you have to start working your way up. There's no Pass Wall, there's no Disintegrate, there's no teleport, there's no dimension door. Once you're in the tower, you're in the tower. Volcano God, so mote it be. If you get yourself a copy of Elemental Moon, we'll make it happen. And there's like I had said, let me tell you something. Lance and I created a horror module that covers an entire base of operations with a death trap dungeon in it 2 decades before those hacks at Wizards of the Coast created Tomb of Annihilation with its multiple death saves. And it's, oh, you made your 3rd death save. I guess you're all right. No, this was 3rd edition. And even though it was just 3rd edition, it would still kill your characters. Dead, dead, dead. Because he gave me to the authorization to move without let or hindrance. Vampire, you better believe it. We invented rules just so there could be an intellect devourer. That's right. The dead black sphere with the lion's feet and the psionic attacks. We've got one in there. Yeah, you think your characters are badass? Bring them in Elemental Moon. Death saves. We did it first. Lance and I did it first. So what you do is get yourself a Tomb of Horrors, get yourself a copy of Elemental Moon, get your copy of Tomb of Annihilation, and throw it in the trash where it belongs. Because if you got Elemental Moon and you got Tomb of Horrors, you've got all the deadly dungeon you need right there, boys and girls. And I got a manuscript for a sequel to Elemental Moon. I'm not going to give you guys anything except 3 hints. Death from explosive decompression. A miniature fortress full of drow. And the 100-handed demon. It's all bad. If you're a player. So that's the story of Elemental Moon. That's the story of me becoming, getting the guts to call myself a professional writer, a professional author. 4, the party is now a bunch of ghosts. Of course, there's that room that turns you inside out. Whoops. I've said too much. I was at a solo room full of intellect devourers and Pathfinder because the casters were scared. The Cavalier failed a sanity check. Ah, that's funny. So yeah, man, there's stuff that'll just jump right out and get you. Because like I said, it takes place on the moon. On the moon. I'm doing this as hard as I can from the moon. Okay, I'll tell you one more. Zero-G trolls with hands on their ankles instead of feet. They're used to the low gravity on the moon. Your characters aren't. Did all my payments add up to $1,000? Yes, they did. Like I said, I made 300 from the folks over at Space Gamer, Fantasy Gamer. I got $50 for my work on Elemental Moon. And then when I started to work for Dawn, not the stuff I was doing for Gary, that never paid until I sold Lost Crypt. But when I started working for Dawn, I started making semi-regular paychecks on the articles I would write. Volcano God, I would imagine it would be like that scene in Futurama where like Fry like has to think dumb, or his brain is like missing the beta wave or something like that, and he's essentially a blind spot to the brain monsters. Speaking of hand feet, check out about. I'm not searching for feet pics on any of my computers. I'm sorry. Yeah, there you go, grumpy old slave. See, I know it's kind of a common thing, but they're vaguely peanut-shaped intellect devourers that look like a forebrain and a cerebellum stuck together. I like as they are described in OD&D, a sphere of dead black with 4 lion's feet. Futurama was brilliant. I like it more than The Simpsons. Yes, it was better. Anchorite knows the OnlyFans video, by the way. Watch YouTube just shuts me off. I did a gag when I was building the studio here back in May. I did like this gag video where I'm like, guys, the videos aren't making money. And by the way, they're still not. That's not a joke. But so I've had to set up an OnlyFans, and I had taken 3 PC cooling fans out of my junk box and pinned them to the wall. And so I like turned to my phone and then turned it back and said, all serious, thank you for your support in this difficult time. So, yes, very briefly there was an OF video up, but it was just 3 PC fans pinned to the wall. Very PC of me. Sorry, there's a gnat flying around in here. But I'll tell you this. I had fun doing the writing. Once I got into the groove for Gary, and like somebody would leave the project, and listen, a lot of the guys had to leave because he just had life stuff happen, you know? Some folks just drifted off, but like I would gladly take it. And I remember I was just done with the Citadel, and I was working on something else. I don't even remember what it was. I'll have to dig into my notes one day and see exactly, because I did the Citadel, Rivergate, in Newtown. That was at Citadel, Rivergate, Newtown. And then there was like a farm district that I was also starting to work on, and each one needed to clock in around 30,000 words. I do stream the show Sans Pants Anchorite. You want to see? 1.52. I wish I could get the one more subscriber. 1,529. Will no one throw me one more sub so I can be 1,530? No, I thank everyone for their subscriptions, but stuff would come up and Gary would just say, "Oh, so and so had to leave. Does anybody want this district?" And it was just crickets, and I was like, "Fine, I'll take it. I should have my head examining it. Good for you, Bill." And take it and start working on it. Zero G Trolls, Michael. It wasn't Zero G Orcs. It was Zero G Trolls. Oh, wow. So I'm up over. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at that. What exactly does it say? Let's hop over and let's take. Oh, channel analytics. I already had a tab open. Doesn't channel analytics sound fun? 1532. Gosh, that's nice of you guys. That's just very fun and sing-songy. Channel analytics. 1532. That is excellent, guys. Thank you. Oh, I know what Volcano God's talking about. So let me tell you something. There's a guy. He is truly a legend in his own mind. His name is Gene Weagle. Now, if Weagle sounds familiar and you go flipping through some late day TSR stuff, he is not related to, I think, Mary Weagle, who was working for TSR in some editorial capacity. We were all happy campers and we were working on our stuff and we were talking about it on forums and everything. Now, I will tell you two Gene Weagle stories. The first one was the first one I heard. And look, I don't like to alpha nerd because it's what he did. It's what Gene did. And look, if you're a friend of Gene's or a fan of Gene's, I apologize in advance. I hope I don't lose your subscription, your vote of confidence. You don't block me on Twitter. But I kind of knew of Gene from his forum posts and whatnot. And when I went to Milwaukee Game Fest in 2004, where I first met Gary face to face, I was sitting at a table. It was me, Gary, and Rob Kuntz. Okay, just us. There, I've alpha geeked. But I was just like, wow, it's like sitting next to, Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle, okay? Oh my God, Luther, I hope you're okay. Wow. Prayers for you, Luther. So, I don't know if it's Weagle or Weigel. Weigel. Anyway, so they were discussing Gene. Apparently, Gene Weagle had straight up said, "Hey, you ought to give me all your Greyhawk stuff, and I'll get it organized and published." And they were discussing like, who is this guy? I mean, a mile-wide hurricane or a mile-wide tornado, that's essentially a mobile nuclear explosion. In terms of energy, that is a mobile nuclear explosion. So anyway, yeah, they were kind of scoffing at the idea that Gary would just say, "All right, here you go." If anybody here has ever seen the rather bleak movie Glengarry Glen Ross, there's a scene where Alec Baldwin, no, he does not unalive someone. That was in a later movie. Alec Baldwin makes this speech. They sent me from downtown to straighten you guys out, because these are all guys running a scam, real estate scam through the real estate company Glengarry Glen Ross. And so Alec Baldwin comes in and he busts some balls on these guys. And he has this very famous speech. You can look it up on YouTube, Glengarry Glen Ross speech. And so Gary has passed away now. Well, over on Knights and Knaves, Gene starts posting regularly again. Now, I want you to understand something, sports fans. I was there. I was working on the Yigsburg stuff. Me and starting with 30 other people. But at the end, there were still 11 of us. Gene comes up and makes this preposterous post that Gary sent him into the forums to straighten us out, to make sure we weren't doing things wrong. I never even saw him post. First of all, the forums where we talked about deep development issues were closed to anyone not on the dev. Just like if I was writing a book and I wanted, say, Anchorite, TJ, and Headbangers input on Discord as I did chapters, I would close it to the rest of you. So Gene makes this statement that he was there and he saw this stuff going on, and he told Gary we were just a lost cause, and Gary was very disappointed. And that he tried to straighten us out. Gary sent Gene to straighten us out. No, Gene, Gary didn't. Maybe in your head, maybe you had this conversation with Gary and you were bitching that people on the internet were not true hardcore 1E AD&D grog nerds. And you told Gary this, and Gary maybe agreed with you and said, yeah, people on forums, yada, yada, yada. So maybe in your head, you formulated this idea that was Gary telling you to go out and make sure it was being done right. So I don't know. It was Yigsburg. We said Yigsburg. I would say Yigsburg to Gary. Gary would say Yigsburg back to me. So yeah, Luther, shout out to Luther Pendragon's gaming group, by the way. He started out with just a few, and now it's 50. I remember watching this thing grow, because you would come in and you would now announce on the channel. Just slowly building this thing up. And that is so awesome, Luther. Raven Wolfgar, welcome. Greetings. Good to see you. So those are my Gene Weagle stories, or Weigel. Oh, this is so awesome, guys. 1,532 subs. I mean it, guys. If we hit 10,000 subs on this channel, and I say if, it could never happen. But if we ever hit 10,000 subs on this channel, there will be a real in-person convention. It won't be free. I can't do it for free, but it will be a real in-person convention. I'll find a hall. I know somebody who's run a con. Volcano God. I'll find a hall. I'll set it up. Even if it's just a one-day thing, like the con I went to. What was it? I feel bad now. I feel terrible now. I'm going blank. QuestCon here in Orlando. Even if it's just a one-day event at QuestCon, I'll have tables. I'll arrange vendors. I told. Voluntold. Yes, you're voluntold. We'll have badges, swag, everything. If I get 10,000 subs on the YouTubes. Hell yeah, in Florida. Where else would it be? No, TJ, the private jet's in the shop. But I'd figure out when to have it. I might do it in like June before it gets absolutely like blazing hot and there's a very real chance of being struck by a hurricane. But as to where, I'd find a hotel. I am actually not very far from an international airport. We have a few right around here. There's Sanford. There's Orlando. But yeah, I might find a hotel around here that could do it. But exactly, I'd avoid spring break. The con name will be what the convention name always is, the GUOGC, Great Underground Overland Gaming Convention. The Guac. It will be the Guac. A one-day add-on to QuestCon, my subscribers only. I'd have to talk to the guys that run QuestCon about doing that. I wouldn't want to horn in on their territory because Carlos over at QuestCon, he's a swell guy and he did everything himself. And that QuestCon, for a one-man show, QuestCon was really, I got a coin. He paid for challenge coins. Where's my challenge coin? I put it in a challengingly hard place. But no, they're actual like bronze or brass challenge coins. I would make a tournament module for that con. If I was going to have a con in my name, I would make it. I would make, just so you guys could say, "Hey, careful! That's already got guac on it." Okay, I don't want anything else to happen to it. Will there be kobolds? Well, of course there'll be kobolds. Well, it'll have two logos. It'll have an invisible horse on one side, and it'll have the bowl of guac on the other. But between now and then, this spring at some point, we'll have a... what the hell was that? We will have another online con. Guac 2 is coming. Guac 2 is coming probably in April again. So that... I will set it up online. I will have sign-up sheets. I will have spaces designated on the Discord so you can come in and you can run your games. But that's what we'll do. And I gotta go with like Warhorn or something like that. I wasn't crazy about the sign-up system we had for Guac 1. We had about 10, 15 people at Guac 1. Maybe we can make a better go of it. But I tell you what, if we ever have in real life guac, like a real face-to-face con, I'm going to do it right, man. I'm going to have some fun. There's going to be I want the focus to be on old school gaming, but I get it that some people want to play some newer stuff, but I definitely want to focus on the OSR. And let me tell you something, I don't mind a little bit of like a cosplay contest or something like that. Calendly, okay. I'll have to remember that. Let me make a note of that. So I'll set up. I'll set up something very soon, actually, because I don't want to be looking at like March, like, oh crap, we got to set up the thing, because I want you guys to have plenty of time to get the Guac set up. And Guac 2, of course, will be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But yeah, that's a thing that will happen, and I'm looking forward to it. And we have determined that this is the truth, Volcano God. I will have cosplay at the con if Sapphire/Kennick1 does cosplay at the con. That is how that will be. So anyway, sorry, I got distracted by something shiny. No chainmail bra? Oh, then why am I even going to bother? Why am I even going to bother? Cosplay as Bill, long hair, wig, Hellfire Club t-shirt, no pants. If you can make it from the parking lot through the lobby to wherever, whatever meeting room we're having it in, that's no bare feet equals no bedazzled flip-flops. You dated a booth babe, and I thought that, and though that was a long time ago, she's my age. I suspect she's more. Father Aaron, that is doesn't the Bible have something to say about unkind words to people? Yeah. Hey, Kennick, Sapphire, what if we all wear chainmail bras? Would you feel more comfortable then? Cosplay as a middle-aged application developer. Oh, be careful! You and Volcano God might end up wearing the same thing. Chinos, loafers, a corporate polo shirt, an RFID badge, lanyard, or possibly a one of the zip reels on the hip. Couple of pagers, your iPhone in your pocket. You don't. You have a very supple, lithe body from what I can see on camera, Baron Von Headbanger. You have a willowy, girlish figure. I'm going straight to hell. People tuning in are like, I'm going to subscribe to Delver's Dungeon. That guy's got it going on when it comes to the first edition stuff. And he does, oh my God, what did he just say? Unsubscribe, unsubscribe, unsubscribe. You want breastplate boob armor? Oh, we got to get Jayashiro Finney's other half cat in here to advise us properly on how those work. Best bill. No, I'm not going home as a trophy for the cosplay contest. I'll give away some autographed merch or a $25 gift card. Thank you, Volcano God. Thank you very much. 230 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal. Oh my gosh. Pop can pull tab still thing enough to make chainmail. I think they are, but you would have to track down some weird sodas to make chain. When I was a kid, I was planning on doing that. Like I would collect them up, but my mom would like find the box or the paper bag that I was keeping them in, and they had Coke residue on them. And she'd throw that. That's how we get ants, or that's how we get roaches. They'd go out. Plus, I don't know that you'd want like a chainmail bikini top made out of pop. All the little cuts. I'd do that. I'd do that in a heartbeat. So thank you very much for the super, VG. I really appreciate it, dude. There's been something look, I don't like to talk about this because I don't want to turn you guys off. I mean, we've been up to like 32 watching the stream tonight, and that is so awesome. And the fact that we're to like over 1,530 subs, 1,532, 1,533, something like that. I don't want to dive too deep into, hey, let's stop the fun and just talk about analytics, because that's good, right? Where does it? But no, this has been a super duper frustrating process with YouTube, because it's like okay, I get a certain amount of money for ads on YouTube. All right. I don't make big money. I've gotten like $100 payouts from YouTube since I was able to monetize last year, just to put that in perspective. Okay, I don't know. This is not paid for a Ferrari. My next video is not a walk around my mansion. I'm not one of those people who will literally stream other people's stream, like Sniper Wolf and whatever, and and then scream about how awesome socialism is while I walk you guys around a $17 million California mansion. But it helps out some. It helps out some when we're like, we need a gallon of milk, a loaf of bread, and gas money for the rest of the week. I just happen to have that amount. So the other day, before I posted up the first video about what's been going on with, and there go the number of people watching. I don't care about this. But consider this a caution, not a grouse, a caution. When I saw that my views and everything were going, I was like, hey, that's really very nice. And I had a certain amount of estimated monetization, and more people were watching my stuff. Well, my monetization took a nosedive, and it was cut down by like 2/3. It went from like up here to down here. And I don't understand. It was so frustrating, and YouTube hides away the ability. Oh, thank you, Doomsword. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate the super, my friend. I have a good group here. I'll take your Roll Tide, Luther. That's fantastic. By the way, Luther, did you or did any other fans of SEC football see Matt Mitchell's SEC roll call, the last one of the season that dropped yesterday? Thanks for making me cry, Matt. And I'm not being ironic. I'm not crying with tears. I mean, it literally, like the end of it, that was like a gut punch, the end of it. Anyway, so I turned around and I saw that happen. And YouTube obfuscates your ability. There may be some computer brain out there who can look at the colored lines and the graphs and the trends and then figure out their voodoo banking, their voodoo economics. George Bush Sr. called it back in the day. And it baffled. I'm just like, you don't let my money go unless I have a minimum of $100. Well, 130 because you want 30% of it before you let it go. And I look in there and I get happy because I see it like, oh, no, it's like $97. That's awesome. And I've literally come back to it and it's like, no, it's 71. Like, oh, that sucks. Our estimates were wrong. It's 71. That's fine. Our current estimates are 71. Your current estimates? Yeah, it's 71. And then the month ends and it's like, it's actually 54. And it's like getting kicked in the guts over and over sometimes. And it is what it is, okay? You know, I have two avenues with this channel. I can keep doing this and I can keep embracing you guys and all the weirdness and the, you know, seeing Safi in a chainmail bikini jokes and you know, you guys are, it's going to be called BillCon, you know, when you know it's fucking freaking well not, and so on and etc. You know, or I could put somebody's TikToks up and just go, oh, damn. Oh, wow. For 30 minutes and just drop little videos like that and probably wind up with the 10,000 subs like that. And then just, you know, like all the other content thieves out there on YouTube, and I could do it. That's not what I want to do. That's not what I want to do. It's like when Lance insisted that I write a module, I was like, I don't want to write a 3rd edition module. When the OGL opened up, see, we're on topic. We're coming back around to it. That's right. That's called a callback, people. When the OGL opened up, I could have just said, yeah, I like AD&D, but I'm going to write tons of modules, D20 OGL modules, and just gone out with a shovelware, just like everybody else was doing. But I didn't want to do that. I only did Elemental Moon because I could put a fake name on it. Which in retrospect, I wish I hadn't, but I could have done that. But I don't do that. You know, I stick with you guys and I do my thing, and I do my thing here. And so that's just kind of, that's just kind of my mode and modus, you know. I get frustrated at it. But when you guys drop like super chats and stuff, guys, that makes my damn day, you know. And I know I've got people on Patreon and Subscribestar, and your content's coming, which, by the way, I hope you guys saw and liked the little post credits video thing I did for you folks on Patreon, because I keep screwing up and closing the sound for the end credits. But there's more good content. Mini modules are coming for some Patreon tiers. You guys, before the month is out, are going to get some mini modules, little one-page adventures, plural. You guys are getting that. That is something that patrons get. I'm thinking about doing miniatures, like actual miniatures. Like go on Hero Forge, make up a mini that I think you guys might like, And then but that involves me mailing stuff out, and that might be a little difficult. Did you just super me again, Headbanger, with no message? Thank you. Thank you, Baron. I appreciate that. Jimmy, you are correct. That is TikTok in China is very strictly controlled, and you can only put positive affirmative messages on it. Here in the United States, it is 180 degrees around from that, and it has led to actual physiological brain damage. TikTok is literally damaging people's ability to focus and concentrate in a permanent sense. So that's a real thing. And now that I've stopped talking about my money woes, the number of viewers are coming. I'm just gonna stay on here. I'm gonna hang out. I'm gonna hang out till you guys you've got Owlbear live. Does live include like over a boombox? Safi? Asking for a friend. If the booth babes match my singing ability, it's not going to be a pretty picture. No, I think it's Dancing Girl singular, and then that's only if I could get Bob Antone to show up and play Owlbear. Bob's way off in Wash. Oh my gosh, what if live guac was really was really a thing, and I could afford to get Bob down here to play some folksy music. Would you guys like that? I'm talking about this like it's going to happen. Like I said, it's 10K subs. And I'm not dangling that over your head like, get me 10,000 subs. Go out and get me 10,000 subs. I just mean, like, I think everybody who's regularly on the channel and so forth, it would be into it, right? So you figure there's been like 32, 33 people, maybe throw in a dozen more. That's, I mean, and let's say I said, okay, that's a $28 all event ticket for everybody. So, let's just do the math real quick. Let's yeah, I mean that would be like $1,100. I could fly Bob here one way economy, and no hotel room. Oh, Lisa Marie Presley, dang it! Thank you very much, Lisa. Bill, don't be dangling things overhead. Some of us, yeah. I'm assuming you meant don't be, not font be. Like what? Like choosing letters in Microsoft Word. I don't. Calibri? Well, that Times New Roman. If I hold up Comic Sans, you can shoot. Yeah, but you'd have to go through underground passages, and that causes a problem there, Safi, because then you'd get carpool tunnel syndrome. You'd like to buy a vowel? Well, slide it over to the left. That way you could have a vowel movement. We're in it now, up to our neck. Oh no, that's wrong Gregory there. This is Gregory Peck. Well, just want a Florida vacation. I just need some weird Svengali to show up and say, I will fund your convention bill, fear not. And I'll do it. Staying for the dad jokes. That's right. I'm having fun hanging out tonight. I hope you guys are too. You rarely buy any. I tell you what, Rosie went trick-or-treating. She didn't go last year. She went this year. And I got like 2 or 3 beers and this like frozen wine pop. It was like a basically like half a glass of wine, but it was mixed in with some fruit juice and stuff and in a freeze pop. But that one I asked for Rosie. Now don't at me, don't call CPS on me. I kept it in the wrapper. It was hot. Like, so here's the thing. We had the hurricane at the beginning of October. And like the week after, because of the what it did to the weather pattern, the week after, it was chilly. And we were like, we're going to have a fall. We're going to have a proper fall. It's going to be wonderful. The temperatures are back up in the like high 80s. So by the time we got kind of around the corner at the end of the block, heading back here, poor Rosie was ready to drop, and we walked past a house, and the guy's like, "Oh, do you want some more candy?" And I was like, "She's pooped." And he goes, "She's just like exhausted, and I just got to get her home." And the guy's like, "Well, how about a treat for Dad?" I said, "Hang on a second, Rosie," and whatever. And so, what do you got? And he holds up this wine freeze pop. And it's sealed in a foil package, right? You got to tear it open. So I said, I'll take one. Thank you. And without opening it, I said, "Rosie, put this on the back of your neck, honey." So it did the trick. It was melted by the time we got home. I threw it in the fridge, and then I had it at some point before Christmas. And it was okay. You know, like I said, it was maybe that much wine and like that much freeze pop. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Do you guys have any questions for me? Is there anything that you guys would like to know? Now, I will tell you folks who maybe have just stopped by for the first time. And by the way, God bless you all for subscribing. God bless you all for subscribing. Yeah, you can get them in the freezer section. Well, I mean, they have a freezer cabinet. They're not like, wedged between the rocket bombs and the drumsticks, but they have them at our Publix. They have them at Aldi's. But normally, anything is normal around here. Normally, we talk about more than just, the I would call it a slow motion train wreck that WotC's in, but this is somebody's got their thumb on the fast forward button. Because they went from hit piece that they made or paid or whatever PBS to put out to OGL crash. It happened like that. I will explain that. Hang on a second, Volcano God. I see you there. I think the libation is starting to hit. Anyway, yeah. So we do talk about Dungeons and Dragons topics here. We do talk about old school role playing games. I've got shelves of stuff. I've got bins of stuff. Don't think that I'm not. James Seymour has a question. James, so what is your question, James Seymour? I missed it. What is my funniest TSR story? Okay, I don't really, so many people, I've had people introduce me, when I go to Gods and Monsters down there, sometimes Todd will be like, and straight up serious, because like he misunderstands. Like, Bill was there, when they were working on D&D. I'm like, no, I wasn't. I was 10. I was 10 when I discovered D&D in 1981. Todd, when I was 4. I was not advising Gary on original D&D. I used to have a serious tolerance, Kennick. I would put down 12 pints in a night when Colleen and I first started dating. First started dating for the second time. I would we'd go to like 3 or 4 pubs, and I'd have multiple pints and food. Very expensive dates for the time. Nowadays, it would be just horrifically expensive. Yeah, I don't really have any funny TSR stories. I have a few interesting D&D stories, but I'm saving those for Tales of Tabletop Triumph. Episode 2 comes out next week, by the way. If you want to join us on our Discord, which is linked in the description of the video, and if you have a positive story of tabletop gaming, something you did that made you love the hobby even more, whether you made good friends, whether you made you just had the most memorable time, and you want to hear that story read out, you want to spread that goodness out, but you're a little shy to get it on social media, you can type your story up in the appropriate area of the Tales of Tabletop Triumph. We got there's 3 rooms basically. There's Tales, which don't post there. That's only for me to post completed and edited stories. Submissions, and then the discussion area where you can workshop and that sort of thing. So Volcano God asks about locate plants. I cannot fathom what use locate plants can be. I mean, possibly to locate a 4-leaf clover. But you practically have to be, it might, I need a 4-leaf clover. For what? For good luck. 1+ to a saving throw or something. But that's all I can think of that locate plants is good for. But I think spell ingredients. Yeah, exactly. I cannot fathom the use. That's just it. I don't think a treant is a plant. I don't think a shambling mound is a plant. Maybe green slime. Okay, there's a deep, murky pool. We have no way around it. We have to cross through it. I will cast locate plants to see if there's green slime under there. You'd have to be close enough to be struck by violet fungi, which often grow amongst shriekers, to know if it's shriekers or not. I definitely would rule that a treant is not a plant. Chris, what the hell is this, 2020? Good night, Luther. No, a treant's not a plant, because if you go to the source, if you go to the Lord of the Rings, Treebeard makes a very clear distinction between himself and his kin and actual trees and the Entwives. The Entwives are described as being almost like human, beautiful levels of good looking. And I don't think you're going to get that out of even a nice tree unless, you spend a few hours in a hammer and chisel and sandpaper. And if you went after an Entwife with those things and there was a Huron or a treant around, you would get what you deserve. The Blue Brothers. The Blue Brothers are different from the Blues Brothers. They're very different films, and you don't want to mistake them when you ask for that at the mom and pop video store. You have to do something to it, Damien. You have to. I mean, Shocking Grasp at first level is a more useful spell than Locate Plants is. Like maybe the specificity and the range goes up as you level. Like it's like Magic User or Magic Missile for the Magic User. Like you get more as you level, and do the same with Locate Plants. Yes. Dungeon Minister, have you been into the Sacramento wine tonight? That's pretty salty, brother. Father, excuse me. But here's the thing, Tommy. Here's the thing. Yes, if you modify it like Locate Plants over several hundred yards or something like that. Otherwise, you would see the cactus, you would see the plants growing in the ground. You would know before you know. The one use I can think for it is, there's vines. Let's go to the desert thing. You're going through the desert. There's an oak tree. This lush green oak tree in the middle of like deep wastes, like the deep wastes of the Sahara desert style desert. And there's an oak tree. Is that real or illusory? Well, we don't know. Druid, can you cast Locate Plants and see if that's a real oak tree? If it's illusory, it's not going to ping. The Dungeon Sinister. Yes, Protestants, we just get grape juice. The Ranger has a better chance of finding. Yeah, basically. DM is on a roll tonight. Well, I mean, I guess with a wine, you would get the roll. Isn't the transubstantiation where you like hop onto another underground train? Oh man, I'm never going to make it home. Oh, here's the transubstantiation. I can just hop off and get on the next one, and that'll take me uptown. Have I hit all your questions? I answered Volcano's God's question yet again about Locate Plants. Patty, I'll see you later. I think I'm probably going to dip out too, guys. I mean, we will be on. Let me tell you what, we will be on tomorrow. We will have some preamble ramble. We're going to talk about. We're going to deep dive into. We're going to continue our deep dive into Murphy's Rules, because that's been fun, and there's some fun stuff in there. And what was your question, Tonka? I don't remember. I'll answer Tonka Todd's question, but we're going to continue our deep dive into Murphy's Rules tomorrow. Then at 9:00, we're going to enjoin to play Gamma World First Edition. That's right, a live Let's Play Gamma World. Now, I don't have the terrain prepped. Gamma World terrain prep is a little different because I have to make like 99% of it from scratch. I'm going to paint Safi's miniature 4077, which, by the way, for those of you, thank you all for voting on the does she change her name or not. It looks like it's staying as 4077. Sorry about that. What game system would I use for Cyberpunk? I would use Cyberpunk 2020, and I would throw out humanity cost. I would come up with a better way to stop players from going full RoboCop. I could come up with a dozen different ways than, oh, I lost my right foot. Fortunately, I can get a new one. Now I hate everyone. than what Mike Pondsmith did. Otherwise, it's a lovely, solid game. Yeah, you're stuck at 4077. Sorry, Ganik. And yeah, you guys, if you're just stopping by, just breezed in off of YouTube, please click that subscribe button, click the like button. We have a Discord. It's linked below. It's linked in the description. You can come over. But that's about it. That's about what I got. Thank you for joining me tonight, guys. Thank you, everyone who has subscribed to the channel. Again, 1,533 subs is nothing to sneeze at. Let me just tell you real quick. There's a few channels out there. Dungeon Minister's channel is awesome. You should check out Dungeon Minister. He doesn't live stream much, but when he does, you got to catch him because he's great. He's got the zingers. But Dungeon Minister puts out a video a week where he does recaps of his D&D games with sound effects and all kinds of cool stuff. Occasionally, very talented voice actors. So definitely do that. T-shirted Historian, I guess, is probably blown on home. But T-shirted Historian, check out his channel. Let's try and boost him over 1,000 if we can. Very good to hang out with you. If Cork dies, I'm gonna make a druid named Cheech and locate planets on list. But thank you, everyone. Thank you for hanging out. I'm not going to answer your question. I saw your question, and no, I'm not going to answer it. Yeah, no, I'm not. No. Anyway, you guys have an absolutely lovely evening. It has been tons of fun, and I'll see you all tomorrow night. We'll kick off at 8, and then Classic Gamma World happens at 9. And until then, look, be good to each other. Okay. Role-playing games are great friendship and great fellowship, and I can't think of anywhere else I'd rather hang out when I'm online than with you guys, whether I'm live streaming or just on the Bleep Bloop over there. So take care, and I'll see you tomorrow night.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around. Some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle way off course? Naked as a toad, all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me to the show.